I've been feeling really curious lately about a type of magic called sympathy. No, not that sympathy. Compassion is a great thing and all that, but I'm talking about actual magic. In his incredible foundational fantasy novel, The Name of the Wind, Patrick Rothfuss introduced me to a method of manipulating the world I had never seen or heard of before. I found it so captivating, the mechanics so interesting, but more than anything else, it felt primal, intrinsic, right. Turns out, it feels that way to a lot of people. Sympathy is real. Or at least as real as any magic can be. It exists outside the book, in the world around us. The Name of the Wind is a big tale full of countless good ideas, but for now, this is the bit I'm most curious about. A big thanks to CuriosityStream, not only for making this video possible, but some other extra videos possible as well. We've been posting them over on our new streaming service, Nebula. More on that later. Sympathy is not your usual flowery, explosive, flashing lights and gouts of flame magic. It's a way of looking at the world, and the world looking back. If you can truly believe that two unconnected things are in fact one and the same, they'll act as if they are, influencing each other no matter the distance between them. Of course, the more similar they are, the greater that influence will be. In the book, scholars have made something of a science out of this. They call that foundational belief alar, and train their minds to believe multiple conflicting truths at the same time in order to attain it. Using it, you can bind any two things together such that when one is affected, the other will be as well. For instance, you could bind one coin to another so that when either is lifted, the other lifts into the air without anyone touching it. You could bind a magnet to a block of wood, and suddenly iron screws would cling to it. It's a pretty cool thing to be able to do, but it's not without its limitations. There are rules, namely the 3 laws of sympathy. First, the Doctrine of Correspondence, which states that similarity enhances influence. So, although you could bind a magnet to a block of wood, it wouldn't be very effective. You'd have to find some clever way to make one resemble the other a little more. Second, the principle of consanguinity, which states that a piece of something can represent the whole. Although 2 coins may be very similar, 2 coins smelted from the same ingot are virtually the same thing as far as sympathy is concerned. Third, the law of conservation, which is actually just a law of thermodynamics in the real world and states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. Thus, when you bind 2 coins and pick up one, although the other may lift into the air, that force has to come from somewhere. So the one you picked up will be at least twice as heavy to account for it. Fascinating stuff, almost worked all the way down to a soft science. But even more fascinating, people really believe in this. Not exactly as Rothfuss describes with all the rules and nuance, but they believe in the basic concept of sympathetic magic. In his book The Golden Bough, James George Frazer made an effort to compile magical beliefs and rituals from around the world. And in a vast variety of cultures and world history, we find more of the same: sympathetic magic. He divides the beliefs up into 2 fundamental tenets, and these will sound somewhat familiar. First, the law of similarity, which states that like produces like, and effect resembles its cause. You see this a lot in homeopathic medicines. Yellow sap might be expected to cure jaundice, phallic-shaped roots treat male impotence, red beet juice is good for the blood. The Dayaks of Borneo reportedly help women during childbirth by having a wizard reenact the birthing process in the next room, moving a rock around on his abdomen to simulate a smooth delivery. Even some prehistoric cave paintings are speculated not to be documentations of a hunt that's already happened, but instead consecrations of a hunt yet to happen. Sympathetic magic used to influence an outcome. But thanks to modern media, you might be more familiar with the more malicious application of this idea. People all over the world have engaged in the creation of puppets, dolls, drawings, images of every variety in the likeness of someone they wish to harm. From the Ojibwe of North America, said to burn or bury effigies of those they wish dead, to indigenous peoples of Peru, said to burn dolls on a road where their victim will soon pass, a process they call burning the soul. A bit scary, but also very intuitive. Like produces like. Second, there's the law of contiguity, which states that things which have been in contact with each other continue to act on each other at a distance after the physical connection has been severed. This is likely the conviction that has led, for instance, the Cherokee to bury a newborn's placenta under a corn mortar or hang their umbilical in the woods. Measures thought to ensure that the child would grow up to be a good baker or hunter, respectively. This might also be why so many connect weapons to the wounds they make. Pliny, the Roman philosopher, has said that spitting on the hand which carried the weapon would surely ease the pain of the wound. In Melanesia, there are stories of people storing the weapon in a cool, damp place if they want to ease suffering, or near a fire if they want to aggravate it. And finally, of course, probably the most well-known manifestation of this law, thanks again to media, the idea that using a part of someone's body can create a link to them. Attach a lock of hair or some fingernail clippings to a doll, and voila! It's virtually the same as the person it's meant to affect. Practitioners of dark magic commonly know this as a tag lock, and this practice is why some cultures are so careful with their personal rubbish. With this thinking, fingernail trimmings, leftover food, used bandages, it all becomes a dangerous weapon. Things continue to act on each other even after the physical bond is severed. Similarity, contiguity, and the idea that these are enough to create real, tangible effects. There is a lot of room for dreaming with that idea, but I love the direction Rothfuss took it. Not only did he create a complex, nuanced, nigh scientific magic system, he did it by tapping into an intuitive belief humans have held forever. As a fiction writer, it makes me wonder, what other ways of magical thinking haven't we thought of yet? What fantasies could be born from mankind's earliest conceptions of how the world works? There is magic here to find, and stories here to tell. It'll be another little while before we release our next Talebits video, but if you're hungry for inspiration in the meantime, we do have some extra content out there you might not have seen before. And it just so happens to come with one of the biggest sources of creative fuel you could ask for. I'm talking about our new streaming platform, Nebula. YouTube is a weird place for educational content. It's hard to be as honest and open as you want while trying to satisfy the algorithm and trying to dodge some kind of terrible fate like channel-wide demonetization. So, a bunch of us educational creators got together and made our own platform where we don't have to worry about all of that. All of the videos there, including ours going forward, are ad-free, they come out sooner than they do on YouTube, and there's tons of original content you couldn't find anywhere else. Like, for instance, the video we made for the Nebula original series, Working Titles, where we explain what we love about the title sequence for the show Good Omens. We would love it if you went and watched that and told us what you think. It's a very different kind of thing for Foundry. Oh, and the best part is that you don't even actually have to pay for Nebula if you don't want to. The good people at CuriosityStream love us indie creators, and they've decided to foot the bill for Nebula for anyone who signs up with them. Get a year of CuriosityStream, and you get a year of Nebula for free. If you like highly produced documentaries, the kind you can sit back and listen to for hours, soaking up information you never knew how much you needed to know, then I cannot recommend CuriosityStream enough. It's got thousands of titles, including videos about everything from prehistoric aquatic monsters to the cutting edge of modern science. As a big writing nerd, I personally recommend their documentary A Dark and Stormy Night about the writing challenge issued by Lord Byron, which led not only to the creation of the first vampire romance, but also Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Go satisfy your curiosity. Sign up for a year of access now and save 26% on your subscription. That's just $14.79 a month for both CuriosityStream and Nebula. click the link in the description or go to curiositystream.com/TaleFoundry and use the code TaleFoundry to get access to both streaming services for less than $15 a month. Before we wrap up, I'd like to give a quick thanks to all the helpful humans who support the show on Patreon. All those words you see scrolling in the background of these videos, those are actually the names of our Patreon maintenance crew, without whom this show would be impossible. And a special word to all of our top patrons, Lord Gate, RPG Grenade, and the Autumn Rider. Thank you so much. And that's it for this video. There's usually a few weeks between uploads, so if you want more TaleFoundry in the meantime, come join our community. We have a Discord server that's basically like a big family of creatives, a lot of love there. We also run writing groups on Twitch every week, if you want to get some practice in. You can find links to all of it in the description. Hope to see you there. Until then, thanks for watching and keep making stuff up. I'll see you next time. Bye!